Welcome back everybody. In this video we're hacking Headless from HackTheBox. It's a fun, beginner-friendly lab that's really perfect for learning some key concepts like cross-site scripting and command injection. I'm going to walk you through how I approach the machine from finding the vulnerabilities in the web app to escalating my access. And it goes without saying that this is for educational purposes only. If you're new here, I'm Crystal Lupalui, a cyber enthusiast passionate about breaking down challenges to help you learn more about ethical hacking. So without further ado, let's dive right in. All right, from here, let's go ahead and take that IP address and throw it into our etc host file so that we don't have to remember it anymore. So we'll do a sudo nano etc host, and I've already thrown it here 10.10.11.8 for the headless.htb. The HackTheBox machine name is under that. So I'm going to Control O to save it, Control X to exit out of Nano, and from here we'll clear it. Now we can start doing our recon, our Nmap scan. In this case, I'm going to do a P flag for all ports at the headless.htb with a min rate 10,000 because I'm not worried about being noisy. There is no blue defender on the HackTheBox machine trying to listen in and so forth and so on. So we can go as fast as we want on these HackTheBox machines. In this case, 2 ports are being shown through this Nmap scan. 22 TCP open for SSH. That's interesting because that might give us the ability to SSH into the machine later on. So that's a great indicator. And another port 5000 open TCP for UPnP service. I'm not sure what UPnP is exactly, but what's unusual about this is it's not 80 port. So I'm assuming then the website is not on the default 80. It's on probably the 5000. But let's go ahead and run another Nmap scan, and we'll run it for just those 2 ports with these flags, and we'll save it. We'll use this flag to save it in the Nmap scan for the headless at HackTheBox, and we'll let that run. And again, I'll show you on the screen what these flags indicate so you know going forward what they all about. But while that's running, let's go ahead and launch Burp Suite so we can get that started, so we can check out the website. I'm just going to hit next. I'm going to start it, and then from here we can go ahead and launch Firefox and go into the headless. In this case, it's not going to be the headless.htb by itself because that's run on the default port 80. But in this case, we're getting an error. So we know based on our scan that it's under the port 5000. So hitting that, now we got it. So here is the website for the headless on port 5000. And it looks like it's just a coming soon landing page. So we might be missing something. We probably have to click that, but let's take a look at it. The site will be live in 24 days, 23 hours, so on and so on. So we can go in and view the page source, and let's take a look at it. So it is an HTML, and it looks like it's just a bunch of decoration. And here is the script, the countdown script for the timer. I'm not really seeing anything that we could really play around with. Like, okay, it's nice that we know this, but it's not really relevant in any manner because we can't input anything, right? So the only thing that pops out to me is the fact that there is that one link for the button for support. So that's all there is for that. But let's go back into our Nmap scan and see what other thing showed up. Okay, so here's more information through our Nmap scan. Yes, it's showing us open SSH. It looks pretty up to date, and it is showing us that okay, it got a 200 okay, right, for the request. So it's the fingerprint request, and it is run on Python. So that's really interesting. Python 3.11.2. So it's on a Python site or server. And then the other thing that's popping out is, okay, the set cookie is admin. So that's interesting. So that makes me think there's probably a dashboard or an admin type of thing that we're gonna have to either get access to or something of that nature. Let's scroll down. I'm just seeing a bunch of, okay, here's the head title, the body, not really seeing too much, and there's just a bunch of mess. So I'm going to clear that and go back to the website and go from there. So now let's go and click this button, and it looks like it shows us into the support. So there is a support page, and all there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields, and it's just a simple contact support. So with 5 fields, so that's making me think it's probably XSS, a vulnerability attack. So we're gonna have to figure that out. We could also view source, and we're not really getting anything from the view source. Let's view source the right way. Okay, let's take a look. So HTML documents, here is the body. Okay, and so it's the contact form with a post request for these fields. So I'm not really seeing anything relevant in the page source. So there's no clues that are hidden in there. So we need to figure out how can we test these out. But before I start going down that rabbit hole, because it could be a decoy, I don't think it may. It is an easy box. Let's go ahead and have some scans running in the background while we play around to see if this is XSS or not. So let's go back into the terminal, and then from here we'll do a Ffuf scan. And here is the simple subdomain Ffuf scan that we usually use all the time. And I'll show you again on the screen what this all indicates, but we're gonna let that run and see if it picks up any hidden subdomains. And then from here, we're actually going to open up a new window. Very nice. Oh my, ZSH updated. Okay. And we're also going to do a Gobuster. So we're doing a Gobuster we're using the dir flag for the directories, and we're targeting the headless at the port 5000. And we're using the W flag for the word list big from the derb. So we're gonna see if that's gonna show us any directories with Gobuster, and Ffuf is gonna show us if there's any hidden subdomains. So hopefully we're not sending too many requests. We're not DDoSing the server. So from there we can go back into the website. And now that those 2 scans are running in the background, let's figure out and see how we can play around with this. So we've checked the page source already. Let's go ahead and test this and see if it actually does send any data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test for the normal, test 2, test email, test 3, test 4. And we're doing this just to see if there's if it's going to show us those parameters for the data that we submit. But before we send that, we need to go back into Burp Suite, go into the proxy, and start intercepting these requests. Intercept just means it's going to go through Burp Suite's proxy first before we send it back to the website. So with intercept on, we can go back into the website, click send, and there we go. So we've intercepted the post request. Here is the post request to the support page for HTTP 1.1. And here are the data parameters. So first name, last name, email, phone, message. So it looks like all of those parameters are coming through. And again, the interesting part is the fact that there is a header for a cookie. And in that header is admin with this obfuscated string. I'm not sure if inspector can decode it. Looks like it can't, so we might not be able to figure this part out. We probably would need to figure out if we can find a way of stealing a cookie so that we can become admin. But that's a huge indicator. If I'm seeing that on an easy box, that must mean, especially with a contact form, that must mean that it is XSS vulnerable with the ability to steal some type of cookie credentials through an admin account. So now that we know that, let's go ahead and I'm going to send that to repeater. Right click repeater, and you could hotkey it with Control R. I'm going to forward that and just go back to the site and see what happens. Nothing happened. Okay, so we'll go back into Burp, and then we'll go into the repeater up here, and we'll send it again just so we can have it that we're getting a 200 okay. We can even render it and see how it looks. But from here we can start figuring out, okay, let's see what we can put into the fields to test if it is XSS vulnerable or not. Maybe there's a blacklist, maybe there is a whitelist. We need to figure that out. But before we go down that, let's go back into our scans and see if there's anything that showed up. In this case, Gobuster for the directory scan came back with 2 results. The support, which is the page what we're on right now, and a dashboard page. So that's interesting, but a dashboard page comes back with a status 500. That means we don't have access to the dashboard, but there is a dashboard page. So now we know there's a dashboard page. There is a cookie with isAdmin, and we're putting these 2 together, and we have a contact form that may be vulnerable to XSS. So throwing all of these 3 together, I'm assuming the machine particularly is, okay, our attack vector is through XSS. We can send a payload that will be able to trigger something in the backend. Maybe it's a request email or a request notification that the admin picks up and steals that cookie and sends it to us. So let's figure that out and go from there. The other thing is, let's check our Ffuf. It came back with no subdomains, so not surprised. I'm going to clear that. I'm going to clear this. I'm going to exit out of it just to keep it nice and clean, and then go from there. Okay, so let's start crafting our payload. So maybe in the message here, let's try the typical alert. So that is a very simple way of doing it. That's script alert 1 and see what happens. And we're going to send that. And okay, we're getting back a 200. Okay, that's positive, but I'm noticing here a hacking attempt is showing up. Okay, hacking attempt, your IP has been flagged. Let's render it and see. Okay, hacking attempt detected. Uh-oh. Your IP address has been flagged. A report with your browser information has been sent to the administrators for investigation. And then it gives us the client request information, and it looks like these are exact same headers that we're sending. So that is interesting. But it makes sense, right? So that means that the admin behind the screen is going to be viewing this. So, but I'm not seeing the data coming through. So it looks like it's just sending the header request information to the admin. So if that's the case, then maybe we can send some type of script in one of these headers. I think the typical one that I like using is the user agent. So let's see if we can send an alert that way. And okay, so it's not showing up as anything. So I'm wondering if that's actually working, if the script is popping up for them or not. So let's send it like that. So test goes through, but the script alert 1 is not going through. So that means, in other words, the script may be actually being processed on the server's end. If that's the case, then we need to figure out how to craft our payload here inside the script. So let's go ahead and do that. And what I actually found is I found my notes through the CBBH Academy XSS module, and I'm just going to try it out and see if it works. So here is what I have in my notes. I'm just going to copy it because I don't memorize it. So that's a good thing about keeping these in your notes and having good notes. And then I'm going to put my IP address here, 14.14.15. And then we're going to run probably netcat or a Python server on 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from here, let's see equals, and then we'll do a document cookie and see if that works. Okay. So we're essentially creating, we're creating an image object, and but it isn't assigned a variable. So in other words, it's being discarded, but we don't care about that because we're setting the property to this IP address. That's what we're running under. And we're requesting for a cookie. So in other words, whoever opens this, in this case, the administrator, it's going to take their cookie and send it into this request for us. So let's see if that works. It may not, because image isn't assigned an object or isn't assigned a variable. So we might have to mess around with it, but let's try that and see. And we'll go back into our Kali Linux, and then we'll do a Python M for HTB server 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're just using this to see if this XSS can reach out to our Python server. So let's send that and see. And it's not rendering anything, but it is saying, okay, hacking attempt. And it's not showing up there. Let's check. So it didn't go through to our Python server. So we're messing up somewhere in our command. Okay, let's play around this. So maybe we need to set, let's see. Maybe we need to store it. So, okay, let's do this. So we'll set it, we'll create a new, we'll assign it a new variable. And we'll do new image. And then here on the image, we'll do it like this. Okay. And then we'll do neo source. So we're actually setting the variable to neo. We're sourcing it to neo. Now we're going to test out to see if that works. And there needs to be a space there. Okay. So let's test that and see if that works. And it did get processed, but we didn't get a hit. So we're missing something here. We need to figure this out. What are our options? Let's take a look. Am I missing something that I messed up on? Okay. I think what we can do is, in our last video, we did look through one of the scripts in our last video. We were looking through, and there was a reference to BTOA, which is a window object for base 64 encoding. So maybe, and that was in a Python server. So maybe we can do something similar to that. So I'm looking at my notes from the last machine, and let's try and craft this payload with that in mind. So let's take a look. So, okay, script var neo, sure, image neo source. So that looks all good. And I'm running on 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I think the differences here are, okay, it's cookie. and we can keep that. And the difference is BTOA, and it's actually encapsulating the cookie in base 64. So it's using the base 64 Python or window object to base encode the cookie. And let's see if that works. So let's send that. And that went in. Okay, that didn't work either. So what are we doing wrong? Maybe because we have single quotes here. Let's try changing that. All right, it's not doing anything, but it didn't hit. I messed up. I forgot an equals. Okay, so we need to neos page source equals. Let's see if that works. So that didn't work either. Okay. I messed up another part. Okay, I need to add a plus sign on the BTOA. And let's see if that works. Okay, hacking attempt. All right. And we got something back. Okay, so we did get a hit, and it looks like we're getting a hit. We're getting we got the initial hit. Let's see if we can get the cookie now. If the admin, I'm not sure if there's a cron job in the back end where the admin's checking it every minute or so, but hopefully the admin picks this request up, and it looks like that worked. So that came back with the request that we wanted. And here is the cookie. So we got the cookie back. That is awesome. I'm going to open up a new window. And remember, we're using the BTOA for the base encode. So we need to echo this, and we need to base 64 decode it. And there is our admin cookie. So that is awesome. I'm going to copy that. And now that we have that in our notes, we can go back into the website, and that payload worked. That was awesome. We can go back into the main site here. And from here, we'll go into the inspect mode, and we'll go into storage. And here is our cookies in the left side, cookies for the headless at the port 5000. And here is the isAdmin cookie that we're running under. And I'm just going to paste in the cookie that we got from the admin, and I'm going to refresh. I'm going to refresh this page and send it. And let's not forget proxy is on. So I'm going to turn that off, and let's see if that worked. Maybe I need to do it again. Maybe instead of support, let's go dashboard. And there we go. So we got access to the administrator through the cookie stealing. So that's awesome. So there is the cookie that we stole. We were able to access the dashboard because remember, through our Gobuster scan, we found that the dashboard was there. And now we have access to the administrator dashboard. So that is awesome. Let's go ahead and refresh it. Let's take a look at the page source before we figure out anything else that we want to do. Okay, so it's referencing a style sheet, a CSS. Let's see, there is a date and there is a generate report. So I'm not really seeing anything in the page source that's really relevant. So I think the only other option is going back into Burp Suite, intercepting this, and see what does generate report do exactly. So let's send that. And it's sending a post request to the dashboard. And there is our cookie that we stole. That's awesome. So we are admin, and it looks like it's just sending the date. So it's sending the date. So I'm going to send that to repeater. I'm going to forward it, go back to the site. Systems are up and running. Okay. Generate a website help. Okay, let's go into repeater, send it again, render it. Okay. What can we do from here? So it can't be complicated. It has to be the data that we're sending in here. So maybe let's try a who am I and see if it triggers any whitelist or blacklist. Okay, it didn't do anything. Maybe who am I doesn't work. Maybe ID. Okay, so we're getting something back. So systems are up. Here is our ID information. So that is awesome. So it looks like we're able to run some commands. That means it's processing ID in this form data. So if that's the case, then it looks like our way to get in is crafting a reverse shell this way. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I think since ID works, maybe we just do something very simple like a netcat. And there is our IP address, 14, was it 15? And then let's do, am I still running something? I'm still running this. Okay, I'm going to clear that. Netcat 1 2 3 4. Okay, and go back into Burp Suite. So netcat 1 2 3. Let's do 1 2 3 4 e bin bash, and let's see if that works. And it is stalling, so that's awesome. And I'll show you on the screen why I'm using this, but it's pretty simple from rev shells. We're just using the E flag. We could do bin bash or we can do bin sh. This is what I typically like using, but let's take a look and see. And we did get a hit on our netcat, so that's awesome. So I can ID, and we got access to the headless machine server. So we first got access to the administrator on the web portal, and now we got access to the server through DVIR, it looks like. So who am I? I am DVIR. So from here, I'm going to go into the next window. I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to do a breakout. And a breakout is just me upgrading my reverse shell. So I'm going to copy this, go back in here, go back, export the path, paste that in, and now export the term with color. There we go. And let's see, going to copy this alias as well. I'm going to throw the alias in there. And then last but not least, I'm going to Control Z, paste this in, and hit space a few times. Did I do that wrong? I didn't copy it right. Control Z again. There we go. Hit space a few times. And then I can clear, I can Control C, so on and so on. I can LL, get some nice color. So, all right. So from here, now that we got access to the app, let's see, let's CD into, let's just CD, and then there is our user flag. So now that we got user flag, that is awesome. So from here, let's take a look and see what do we have to do. So let's actually cat, what is get-go drive? Okay, that it looks like it's just an empty file. Let's do LL. Okay, so get-go driver is just being thrown into the dev null. So is the Python history. That's interesting. So is the bash history. That's pretty normal. Okay. All right, so let's clear it. Going into the sudo L now. let's figure out if we do have access. In this case, we lucked out. So we're getting back a sudo L, but that means there is no lateral movement into another user. So let's go ahead and check this out. So we're able to run as root with no password required for a system check. So let's cat system check and let's take a look at exactly what this is all about. So it's doing a shebang for bin bash. So it is a bash script and it looks like it's just let's take a look. It looks like it's just a system check. So it's some type of maintenance checking for different things. It looks like disk space, load averages. Let's see here. So it's verifying if it's running as root privilege and it exits if not. So if exits if it's not running as root. What's the other thing? Okay, it's checking to see disk space. I think the interesting part is, all right, I'm looking here if user bin grep. Okay, so it's looking for this script. So let's copy that, but it's being sent to dev null. Then user bin echo database service is not running started. Okay, so it's trying to access a database, and if it's not there, then it's going to start one. So, and there is the bash script to start it, but it's being sent to dev null as well. Else the database service is running. So that's very interesting. So can we, let's figure out, okay, let's go back into the user bin system check and let's see if there's anything in there. There isn't anything in there. Okay. So we have executability. I'm looking at the file permissions. We have execution ability, but we don't have writability in there. And there is no init db bash script in the user bin pg grep. All right. I'm wondering if there is even an database file. But I guess what I'm assuming then is we're going to have to create our own. So let's copy that. And let's craft our own database, because it's what it looks like this script is doing is it's doing a number of different verification checks. And then ultimately at the end, it's looking for the initdb bash script. And in this case, if it's not, it's going to run it. So I'm assuming our attack vector in this case is probably going to be a reverse shell, probably a very simple bin bash in the initdb.sh. So most likely we're going to have to echo in something. So I guess, what did we do last time? I think we did something in the temp file on the last video. So let's do the same thing. We're going to echo in a shebang, right, for bin bash. And we're going to do a new line, and then we're just going to call bin bash here. And let's get it correct. And then we're going to throw it into our temp folder. And in this case, we're just going to paste in the same name that we have here. And hopefully when we run this script, it's going to pull that before it pulls the one wherever else it's located. So let me double check this. It looks all good. Okay. Event not found. So what did I do wrong? I messed up somewhere. Maybe it just needs to be single quotes. Let's try that again. Bin bash, new line, bin bash, and then we're echoing this into the temp file in the initdb.sh. Okay, so now we can, oops, let's cat that and see if it works. Let's actually really cat it. Okay, so it does work. So, okay, from here, let's clear it so we can get it nice and clean. We can cat it again, and it is showing our shebang bin bash, and it's running bin bash. So hopefully, let's clear it again. We'll do a sudo l. Hopefully we can run this. So let's run this command. Do sudo this command, and that didn't work. So we need to, maybe we need to run this command in the temp folder. So let's cd into the temp folder, and there is our command. Let's chmod it just in case, because I don't know if I need to do that or not. But we're going to chmod it, and then we're going to sudo system check it. So hopefully, since we are in the temp folder and we're running a sudo for root privileges for the system check, hopefully it's going to take into account of the fact that we're in temp folder. It's going to run it from the temp folder before any other folder, because I don't know where the other one is, or even if we can have read or write ability to it. So let's try that, and it looks like it worked. I think let's do ID. We got root. So there we go. We got root access through a very simple bash script with bin bash in it. So that's awesome. There was no verification in the system check. There was no validation. There was none of that. It just simply was looking into the database file and running it. So that's awesome. Now we got root. We can cd into root. We can ls, and we can cat root, and there we go. So that is pretty much it for this video. I really enjoyed this video a lot, especially the XSS and getting that cookie and stealing it, getting admin access, and then going from admin access. I think it could have been a little bit more trickier, maybe a whitelist or blacklist for when you're as an admin. That would have been a little bit nicer. Maybe that would have taken it from an easy to a medium. Doing some type of either obfuscation or some type of whitelisting, blacklisting would have been a little bit more fun, I think, in my mind. But overall, I did enjoy it. I even enjoyed this privilege escalation. I would have really liked a lateral movement first before trying to do a privilege escalation through this bin bash script, but ultimately it is an easy box and I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had as much fun doing this with me through this video as I did. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. That really helps me with the algorithm. Subscribe, and again, I'll see you guys in the next video. And of course, if you have any questions or you've stuck around this long, go ahead and throw your timestamp in the comment section below. See you guys in the next video.